Hello friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. This is part 3 of my mini album that I have made for the holiday season, and I'm going to now try to fill it with memories. So in part 1, I kind of went through where I started with mini albums, and I showed you some of the mini albums that I had and the different types that I've made. In part 2, I put together this journal that is just full of recycled Christmas cards and papers, some packaging, some Happy Mail, some book pages, and then this is where I'm going to try to finally put it all together and start getting some memories into this album. So the first thing I need to say is I am filming this at night, so I do not have my natural light. I've got different lights set up, and so there are some harsh shadows, and I do apologize about that. Hopefully I'll be able to edit some of them out. Okay, so here's my journal. I've got pages ready to go. And now what I need to do is start putting in my memories. So the first thing I did was I printed off all of my photos that I wanted to use. So what I did was I just went through and I printed my photos off. I have a lot of questions always asked about my photos and how I print. I have an old Epson Picture Mate from, oh my gosh, 2007 maybe, and used to be able to buy the print packs and the film. Let me see if I have one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the print pack and the film that you buy. Used to be able to buy these at Best Buy, and they were $39.99. And in it comes, you get your print cartridge. This has got your ink in it, and then you get your stack of paper. So I don't know if Best Buy carries these anymore. Like I said, they were $40, so it was kind of pricey. But I have a discount store that I go to, and they had a ton of these. So I was able to buy, I probably have 7 or 8 of these print packs stored, and they ranged anywhere from $19.99 all the way down to $7.99. So every time I go, I always look in the office supply and I find these, and it has an expiration date. So I just bought this one. This one it expires in February 2019. So I still have a year on it. But every time I go, I always search the office supplies and I happen to find these. And like I said, I get them for $19.99 or even cheaper than that. So when these guys run out, I have a feeling I'll probably have to maybe get a new printer. I don't know. I will have had it about 10 years coming up on the next year. And so I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to use it anymore or not, but I do love it because I can size my photos and I can print them out in different sizes and different formats, and it prints on a little 4x6 paper. So that's the scoop on my printer. So once I printed out my photos, I just kind of laid them out here and put them all in piles according to like what stories I wanted to tell. And most of these stories are centered around like days. So like this was a day and this was a day and this was a day. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is just kind of put these in a little bit of an order. I'm usually not a chronological journaler, but I think in this case for my mini album, to have some cohesiveness, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of put it all in some sort of a chronological order. Okay, so I kind of have these in a little bit of an order, and so I kind of know like what I want to start with and what I want to end with. And I have some space here because I know today is the 23rd of December, so I know I still have some things that I want to take pictures of and I want to put in my journal. So that's cool because this is about how much space, yeah, that I will need in my journal. Okay, so now I know what pictures I'm going to scrapbook. So now I want to get started. And I could just start with the first page that is in my journal, but like I said, the good thing about this journal is that I have all these pages that I can take in and out, and that's kind of the cool part of this journal, is being able to move things around as I want. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to find a page that I think is going to work well with this first entry that I'm going to make. And then I'll just take it out because I have these ring binders, and so I don't have to journal in the journal. This is kind of like working in my garden journal where I can actually take the pages out, and I love that. I feel so free when I'm able to take the pages out and everything. So for this layout, I think what I want to do is I want to journal about our Christmas tree lights that we put up this year outside, and I want to maybe see if I can get my ornaments on here also. And I think I might be able to, I'm gonna have to do some playing around, but I think I'll be able to get all of this on here, and then I'll have to do something with this. I like this page because it has the bird and the outdoor and the outside, and it has this blue jay, and our lights are blue, and our big, we have a really big tree in the front yard that we put lights on, which was quite comical to try to get those lights on because we didn't have a big enough ladder. So I think that it goes well with this card. So I'm going to see if I can fit all of this stuff on here. All right, so now I've got them placed on there, but there's this one picture of the Christmas ornament that I made for this year, because this whole side is about my handmade ornaments and how I pulled them out this year, even though I don't have a big tree, and I put them
on some shutters around our fireplace. So I have this one picture that I kind of want to highlight because it's the ornament that I made this year, which is actually a picture from last year. So I had to dig into my scrap basket and pull out some scrapbook paper. I didn't want to. I wanted to try to use everything like wrapping paper and recycled paper and stuff, but I had to, and I just pulled out this piece of paper, and it actually worked really well. I like the colors. I'm not a big red, white, and blue person, but somehow this layout turned into red, white, and blue, and actually I'm loving it. And so that wood grain kind of washed out white works really, really well because that photo is kind of washed out too. And then the washi tape I grabbed is just navy blue with some stars on it, and it seems to go really well and play off of all of the colors that I have going on. So I wanted to add some definition to these photos, and because I don't always need to map my photos, I find that just taking a black pen, or like in my garden journal where I would do my China marker and just putting a messy border around them, really kind of makes those pictures stand out, and it kind of makes them look finished. So you can make them as messy as you want, or you can, try to make nice, neat lines. That definitely does not work for me. Mine are always messy. So I put some journaling in the bottom right corner, and then I decided I didn't like what I had said because I ran out of room. So I pulled out some label stickers and just covered it up. And again, red and white, so that seemed to work really well. And I decided to go ahead and put a label sticker on the back side too. I forgot that my journal is like 9 inches tall, so I actually have some room, some wiggle room on this card. I can go off the page and still keep it within the dimensions of the journal, which is kind of cool. So I have the tag kind of coming off the page, and then I decided to add some of these stars, just those little foil stars, and kind of put some little pops of color in, and then I redid my journaling, and again kind of ran out of room, but oh well, it'll work. I was basically just saying that those are handmade ornaments, and then adding a few more stars here and there, just trying to get some continuity because I have so much going on. And I know that I want to end up with like a triangle, because I always try to go in threes or a triangle. So I try to put stars at the top and then stars down in the bottom right, and I think I even put a few stars down in the bottom left too. And then underneath the bottom left photo, there was enough space that I could actually stamp a little stamp that said handmade. So now I'm ready to work on the back, and I just have 3 photos this time. So because I have 3 photos and only 2 papers, I'm going to have to get creative with how I place them, and I don't want to cover up that bird. So I play around with my placement here. Ultimately, I decide that I'm going to have to do a flap or a fold out, and that actually took me a couple of tries because I don't know what I was thinking, and I taped it wrong and then didn't have enough room for the holes. So yeah, so I was trying to find something to back that photo with, and I went to my basket, found some calendar pages from 1964, and just happened to be the right size. I love the color, and so I'm going to back that photo onto that calendar page. But I'm going to also use these little photo corners. When I was pulling out my stars, I saw that I had those little photo corners. I haven't used those in forever, and they're always kind of fun. They add a little finished detail to photos. So I'm going to pull those out, and I'm going to use those. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach my flap with some washi tape. And again, I remembered that my card is actually shorter than my journal. So I'm going to have this little flap coming off of the card, which is kind of cool because, you'll have all these random different sizes and different collections of papers, and they'll peek through to the other side. So I like that. Now, if you're a person that does not like all that randomness and all those different sizes, absolutely you would want to keep all of yours the same length. But I like it, and I think it kind of adds a lot of interest. So I'm just adding another piece of tape to my little hinge there. And now I'm ready to add my photos. So one is a close-up of the Christmas lights, and then the other one is a photo of our front window where I have the one of our trees decorated right outside our door. And then you can see my little silver tree that I have inside the house. So I had this scrap of tape and I wanted to use it, but I needed to figure out the right placement. So I ended up and went horizontal with it and then just put the photo over top of it, and that actually worked out really well. It kind of balanced out. Because I have a light colored background and I'm using dark photos and dark tape, I really need to be cognizant of how I'm balancing it out. So if I have like the navy blue in the center, I want to put some navy blue over on the side. And again, I'm just going and drawing around with a messy border, and I actually made that border a little bit wider than the photo, which was kind of cool. I kind of like that. And I think I went over that border 2 times, and I'll show you what I do with some of the white space in that border here in just a second. So for this photo, I just found a scrap of fabric from my little scrap box that I have there, and I stapled it to the back. And it just kind of brings in a whole new set of colors, which is totally fine. Now I've got my little tag on the front, and I know I want to add some journaling. I go ahead and I poke my holes with my 2-hole punch. I was trying to figure out where the original holes were, but I couldn't, so I just went ahead and punched new holes. I don't know if I got close to the old holes or not. And then I'm going to decorate a little bit with some more of these gold or foil stars. I always have trouble when I'm putting things like little stickers on, because there's a fine line between not enough, just right, and too much. And I always teeter on that line of too much. So I always have to really think about where to place my stuff. And that whole thing of the triangle really kind of helps me a lot, is to always have that balance. And if I have something up top, try to have something down in the bottom and something over to the side. So I told you I had that white space in that little frame because I had gone over it a couple of times. So what I did was I just took the little spaces of white and I went through with a red marker, and it just adds a little bit of detail to that border, which I think is always kind of cool and just adds a little bit of interest. And then I go ahead and place a few more stars on. And I think I'm actually pretty close to being done here. Just need to add a little bit of journaling. I had a label sticker and I was going to put the date, but then I saw in my drawer I have a stamp that says past due. So I stamped that on there because we didn't put Christmas lights on that big tree. We haven't done it for a few years because it has gotten so big. So it was past due. It was time for us to start putting Christmas lights on that tree again. And then I decided to stamp the date, 2017, do a little bit of journaling, just about how it was quite comical. My son, my husband, and I put the lights up the day before Thanksgiving. And the neighbors were watching, and I'm sure they got a pretty good laugh. Okay, so now I'm done. I'm going to stick it back in the journal, make sure it's working properly, the holes are in the right place, all the flips and the flaps and fold outs and everything are able to open easily. And yeah, so I'm done, and I really like this first spread in this journal. I encourage you guys to use up some of your Christmas cards and take some of those photos, get them off your phone, and put them in some sort of a journal or a keepsake or a mini album to help document your holidays. I have another video coming up, part 4, and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.